folks, Scott here with my 10 cards from the Love from Lizi March 2018 card kit. I am so sorry this is so late. I got hit by a really bad bug at the beginning of this month that kind of knocked me out for a couple of weeks. But I am on the mend and feeling so much better, so I wanted to get this out there. This kit, of course, has already sold out, although I do believe the layered chipboard stickers are still available. I don't usually get any add-ons with my Love from Lizi kits because I think there's so many supplies included in the kits, but this month I did get the chipboard stickers and the layered chipboard stickers. As usual, I did stamp all of the images from the stamp set on some of the smooth white cardstock included in the kit. Lizi said this cardstock was Copic friendly, so I colored all these images up with my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. I really like these stamps a lot. They're very, very nicely detailed and nicely shaded, and you can color them extremely simply and they'll still look beautiful, or you can color them as complex as you would like. I, of course, did go through and cut all of the other cardstocks. We had 5 sheets. I used the white sheet for stamping on and for some other pieces. So I did add a sheet and a half of my own white cardstock. I cut up the colored cardstock from the rest of the kit into card bases. Let's get rolling. So many of the images and the chipboard stickers were large, quite large, and I didn't think it'd be possible to get them on a standard A2 4¼ by 5½ inch card. So I decided that for the first thing I would do a 5x7 card. Let's change up the format and let's do a larger card. I have plenty of 5x7 envelopes. I loved this cut apart sheet. I love these big labels. These are like 6 inches long. This is a piece of cardstock from my stash, white cardstock, 100-pound white cardstock. This is cut 7 inches by 10 inches, folded in half. It makes this 5x7 card. This is what we came up with to start with. I love those filigree labels, so I cut one of those out. I really liked this jar of candies from the chipboard sticker sheet. How sweet it is to be loved by you. This sentiment, of course, I did do on my silhouette. I created that in the Georgia font for the block letters, the Smoothie Shop font for sweet and loved. Of course, just printed that on paper and then placed my cardstock over that and sent it through the printer again, and it printed it right where I wanted it. I did take some of that pink and black striped pattern paper from the back of one of the cut-apart sheets. So this is the large stripe. I cut about a 3¼ inch piece of that for the left side, outlined that with the chocolate mirror peel-offs. I fussy cut this filigree out of one of the other cut-apart sheets and foam taped that up. There's a little dimension behind that. I attached this chipboard sticker right on top of that. It fit just inside that frame kind of perfectly. I did take my glossy accents and covered up a bunch of the little chipboard candies to scatter those along the bottom. You can see some reflection there. A little double pink bow from the ribbon in the kit and some sequins around the sentiment finish out this card. I think this looks really great on a larger format card here, and I need to remind myself that 5x7 cards are fairly standard, and heaven knows they'll go through the mail. I like this card a lot. I really think these apothecary jars filled with candy are terrific. I love this sentiment. It makes me want to sing, how sweet it is to be loved by you. That's card number 1. Let's play with some more chipboard. Now, there was a ton of pink in this kit, so I knew I had to embrace the pink. So I thought, what can I possibly do that gets most of my pink out all in one card? So this is on the pink card base. We get together is a wonderful place to be. I really like that sentiment. That's from one of the cut-apart sheets. I did pair that up with the small black and pink pattern paper and covered the seam with my chipboard flowers here. All the chipboard flowers have a little sparkle on top of them. If you look closely, you can see that the polka dots above the flowers in the pinks are black. The polka dots in the pink below the flowers are white. So it's not quite a perfect match, but you kind of can't tell at all. Now, I did want to frame this image up, so I used my stitched rectangle dies to cut a frame from that pearlescent specialty paper, from the pink specialty paper. And I put it down and then realized that I was covering up all of the pink card base, which I wanted to use that pink too. So I just cut a couple corners off of the frame and did my little partial frame, raised that up on some foam tape, added all the chipboard flowers around in layers. I did use my Spectrum Noir sparkle pin to give a little sparkle to all of those. This is a double bow from the green and white baker's twine in the kit. There are 5 mini copper gems in the middle of the white flower, 5 on the top here, 5 on the bottom down there. Nice sparkle. This is about as pink as I could get with this kit. I really like this sentiment. Together is a wonderful place to be. So I also got the layered chipboard stickers, and there was one piece on it that I was dying to use. This is on the chocolate brown card base. And we get a wonderful birthday wishes card. Now, this has got a little bit of everything here. I used the textured white specialty paper for the background, added strips of the striped pattern paper to the sides. This foiled frame is from the vellum sheet. I glued it down to a piece of white cardstock and cut out the frame to just use the frame on this card, glued that directly down to the background. These are both layered chipboard stickers from the add-ons, and the candles, lo and behold, are the lollipop sticks included in the kit. I thought they made perfect candles. I just colored those up with my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. I did go through and make a large amount of Nouveau drops from the Limoncello Jewel drops. I did some in flames and I did some in dots. I often do that just to have them on hand when I want to use them on a card. And it came out very handy here. I thought the Nouveau drops by themselves were a little plain, so I put one of the mini copper gems on the card base and then glued the little flame Nouveau drops on top of that. That gave that just enough color there that you can really see it. I also dug into the tinsel for this card kit and obsessively combed it out straight and stuck it to the back of the cake so that it kind of makes a little starburst coming out of the sides. I love all that pink glitter on these pieces. This is a really fun card. I wanted to add to the wonderful, so I did the birthday wishes, wonderful birthday wishes on my silhouette. That's in the Lucida Grand font. I ended up doing that just in black to match the black stripes on this chipboard piece. I love this cake with the candles. I really, really like how the cake kind of explodes outside of the frame with both the tinsel and the candles. A wonderful birthday wishes card, and not too awful pink. I was really enjoying the chipboard stickers, and there were a couple more that I was dying to use. So on the pink card base again, let's get that pink over with as soon as we can. We come up with my little chocolate sweets card. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. That's actually a quote from Charles M. Schulz, the creator of Peanuts. I think that's perfect. I paired together these two chipboard stickers. This jar says café, chocolat, pâté, and syrups. This is chocolate. I put those on top of that apothecary jar pattern paper. This is the bronze specialty paper that I just cut a couple of 1/8-inch strips and glued them down along the edges. All You Need Is Love, and the sentiment I created in my silhouette again. This is in the Sign Painter font. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. I was able to just print that on a piece of cardstock. I used my Spellbinder's Decal Edge die to cut out this front sentiment. Used a little Distress Oxide Walnut Stain ink to distress the edges of that. Used again the Lawn Fawn Stitched Rectangle die to cut out the inner writing surface. I did add that little Sweet Treat layered chipboard sticker on the inside of the card. It's got a little gem on it. It's very cute. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. From Charles Schultz. I would agree with that completely. There we go. Okay, now I'm done with my chipboard stickers. I think 4 cards using chipboard stickers is good for this kit. I want to play with these stamps. I've already colored up a bunch of images. So let's hop over to the apple green cardstock, apple green card base, and we get You Are the Sweetest. Now, it took me a little bit of time to find ink in my limited supply of ink pads that really matched this pattern paper. I ultimately found that my Stampin' Up! Stampin' Spot in Pear Pizzazz and Early Espresso worked very well with these colors. So these are stamped in Pear Pizzazz and Early Espresso. I stamped them in a straight line. This is a piece of the white cardstock from the kit. I trimmed that down. I did use a Ellen Hudson Stitching Lines by Julie die to do the little cross stitch on the top and bottom of the white cardstock. I did add, this is the dark green with the gold shimmer, did add 2 strips of that to the top and bottom of that white card piece. That is then foam taped up on the background, this dotted background from the pattern paper kit. I did take little strips of the green pattern paper to edge the edges of the pink and transition into the green card base. I thought that looked very nice. I fussy cut the colored stamp, and I actually clear embossed that, so that whole thing is nice and shiny there. It really makes the colors pop. This is stamped again in the Early Espresso, You Are the Sweetest. I really like this cookie stamp. I think it's just adorable. So I wanted to feature it all by itself on a card. And yes, that looks like a little pistachio macaron. And you are the sweetest. So then we also have that terrific Stack of Pancakes stamp. So on the black card base, I came up with show me your flapjacks, I'll show you my hotcakes. I couldn't resist this. There are so many ice cream and pancake and cupcake puns out there that I had to restrain myself, but this was one of my favorite. I took the pattern paper, that little Moroccan pattern paper, and fussy cut the edge along with the pattern. This is that taupe shimmer specialty cardstock that I put on my scoreboard and scored little tile lines on it. So those two go together. Both are foam taped up on the black card base. 3 of the textured copper brads went into the top here. I cut a little trapezoid out of a scrap of white cardstock, trimmed that with a little piece of the white ribbon from the kit. And then this is actually the paper coated wire from the kit that I braided together to make this little edge on the edge of the table. I really like that. It's not very, I mean, it's fairly chunky, but it's not like huge. I think the pancakes stick up higher than that trim does. But I thought that came out very nice and was a unique way to use that paper-covered wire. I actually used a little bit of the Nouveau drops on the ends of this just to cover up the sharp metal points. So there's no chance anybody's going to cut themselves on this. This font is, of course, my favorite Brady Bunch Remastered font. I did print and cut 4 of these on my silhouette to make a little chunky sentiment on the front. Just printed that on cardstock for the inside of the card. I did fussy cut the stack of pancakes out. I did use some glossy accents on the syrup there just to make it a little more yummy. This is a terrific card, makes me laugh every time. I love the little scene. It feels like I'm in a fancy restaurant. Show me your flapjacks, I'll show you my hotcakes. Sounds like a deal to me. So that's the pancake stamp. Let's go back to the green apple card base, and we've got those lovely cupcake stamps. I really like this card. A party without cake is just a meeting. I love that sentiment. My favorite, my favorite, my favorite in a long time. And those cupcakes are so much fun. I actually used my Emboss It pen, my Ranger Emboss It pen, and did the blueberries and the toppings and did little highlights on the cupcakes with the embossing pen and clear embossing powder. Gives a nice shine and a good texture. It's not anywhere near as good as glossy accents though. But these are fun cupcakes. I cut this out of the white cardstock from the kit with a stitched rectangle die. I outlined that with the chocolate mirror peel-offs. I put that on the embossed brown specialty cardstock, a mat of this embossed brown specialty cardstock. I put that on top of a mat of the bronze shimmer cardstock. That's foam taped up on the background of those little treat bags. This is foam taped up on the 2 mats, so there's 2 layers here. A party without cake is just a meeting. That was stamped on a scrap of the white cardstock from the kit, just in black, Simon Says stamp, intense black ink. I then outlined that one with the peel-offs as well, added a strip of that brown ribbon that had the cupcakes printed on it, and 2 of the smooth copper brads to that. Nice card. I really like how this kind of looks like an art piece. It kind of looks like a framed art piece of cupcakes. But let me tell you, a party without cake is just a meeting. I love that sentiment. I love those cupcakes. I really enjoyed coloring all of the stamps in this set. Now, it's been a while since I did a shaker card, and there were a couple of these apothecary jars that I thought were just screaming to be a shaker card. So on the chocolate brown card base, we've got a nice Mother's Day card. This is from one of the cutout sheets. And I cut out the center of that jar and turned it into a shaker window. This is all on top of the pink marble specialty paper. This is some black and white stripe from my stash that I edged that paper with, and of course used the mirror peel-offs again on the edge of that. It gives a nice shine to the edges of that background. This is a simple shaker assembly here. I did come up with my own sentiment for that. This is in the marketing script font. Precious to me, sweet as can be, mother of mine. Happy Mother's Day. That's a little bit of a bastardization of Baby of Mine from Dumbo, but I thought it worked really, really nice, and it has the sweet as can be in the center of it. Now, I actually printed that directly on the pink marble cardstock. You can see that's the size of my pink marble cardstock. I printed it on paper, taped the cardstock over it, sent it through the printer again, and it printed it right where I wanted it to. I, of course, used the sequin mix to fill up this shaker. I filled it nice and full. And I also added a few pink tiny bubbles, the toppings from Queen & Company, some of the tiny bubbles. Those are little bitty round pieces inside that shaker card. Another simple pink bow to highlight the cap of that jar. Some of the mini copper gems that highlight points along the filigree. I like this quite a lot, and I will definitely be sending this to my mother this Mother's Day. And a nice shaker card. There are a couple other cut-aparts that I think have the apothecary on them that would make decent shaker cards. Now, shoot me, call me names, do whatever you like, but I can't resist. I thought this was such a great idea with this kit. So forgive me, but on the black card base, we've got to treat yourself. Now, we've seen a lot of people do this card. I color that with my alcohol markers, and I did use glossy accents on the toppings here. Big difference, really nice. I think the dimension makes all the difference here. But if you notice, there's a little pull tab down at the bottom. So yes, if 3 scoops of ice cream is a treat, then I think 4 scoops is even more of a treat. So I'm serious, really. Treat yourself. Now, my big accomplishment with this, and part of the reason why I did it, was I figured that I could hide the slit that moves that extra ice cream behind the ice cream sundae. So there is no indication of what's going to happen when you pull on this pull tab. But lo and behold, we've got our nice Neapolitan chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla ice cream with 3 toppings. And it's not really a treat unless you add some pistachio ice cream too. Now for this added scoop of ice cream, I just stamped the stamp again and then cut out this bottom right scoop of ice cream and use that for my extra ice cream on top. Treat yourself. This is very plain. This is on the cardstock from the kit. Some of the antique gold strips going up and down the sides. This whole white piece is outlined with the peel-off stickers for a little glimmer on that. Lots of fun. I couldn't resist. This makes me smile. And this is one of the smoothest and easiest slider cards I've made. I love that extra scoop on top. I'm serious. Treat yourself. Now, that's only 9 cards. You're going, what's going on, Scott? That's only 9 cards. Usually you save your pull tab card for your last card. But I haven't used the hexagonal dies, and I haven't used those great foiled acetate sentiments. So again, on my own white cardstock, this is good 110-pound cardstock, this is what I came up with. I'm sure you've seen them if you're haunting anybody's card-making website, but they've come out with these full-size layering dies that make patterns like these. This is really much simpler than it looks. Let me show you really quickly. All you have to do is cut 3 4¼ by 5½ inch card bases. You will need a card base on top of that also, but it's just 3 layers that's on top of it. Now, to lay out these hexagons fit perfectly, space themselves out perfectly on a 4¼ by 5½ inch card. So if you bisect your card front, a line down the center, a line down the center, that is where your first large hexagon goes. Those 2 middle ones, just space them out evenly right along that center line. Now the other 2 lines are 1 inch up from the short edges of the card. 1 inch up, 1 inch, 1 inch, draw a line straight across. That is where the center of your other hexagons go. So you can trace them on. You have to run this through your die cutting machine 6 times to get them all cut out. But after you do that, you don't even have to erase everything. You can just flip it over. Now, once you've got your top piece, you use that as a pattern for your second layer. So I did use my MISTI to assist in keeping everything lined up. This would normally have 6 hexagons cut in it. You would take that first piece and layer it on your second piece. Tuck them both down in the corners so they line up. You would take your second hexagon die, the smaller die, and line it up with the cut line of your first die cut. tape it down, run it through your die cutting machine. Now, I did in the center here, I just pulled it right to the center. On the two edges, I pulled the cut edge to the corner. Just pulled it to the corner, taped it down. You can take the top off and cut your second layer. I hope that makes sense. To the center on this, to the sides on this, use that first layer to place your dies for the second layer. And once you have all 6 of your second layer cut, use that as a pattern for your third layer. Again, just stick it in my MISTI to keep it all nice and tight in the corners. Take that last smallest hexagon, line it up with the cut edge, line the cut edge to the cut edge, tape it down, run it through your die cut. Do that 6 times. This is really, other than having to send everything through your die cutting machine 18 times, this is actually very, very simple. I love this card. The direction of the hexagons kind of point towards the sentiment. I did trim some very thin pieces of foam tape to go behind the thick parts of this sentiment, but since this is on such thick acetate, it only took like 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3, only like 4 pieces of foam to raise that up. Got your nice thank you card on a lovely dimensional card front. Now you could do this in similar colors, in different colors. However, I was really thrilled with the fact that I could achieve what those expensive layering dies do with just 3 nesting dies. That's my last card for this month, ladies and gentlemen. So I, of course, have tons of supplies left over. I did use a little bit of all of the cut-apart sheets. I used one of the vellum pieces. I used, of course, all of the cardstock and a great deal of the pattern papers. I didn't really get into a lot of the flowery pattern papers. I think this kit made me go sweet, 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 sweet. It's all about candy, cookies, ice cream, and cake. But I did use a little bit of almost all of the specialty cardstock. This is my last couple of pieces of the white, smooth white cardstock from the kit. I, of course, have a good amount of chipboard stickers left. This is going to have to go on a 5x7 card. A few of those layered chipboard sentiments left. Now, I do know that the layered chipboard stickers are still available at Lizi's shop at lovefromlizi.com. I got into a little bit of everything in the embellishments bag. I didn't use the tags, but I used a little bit of everything else. I used 2 whole popsicle sticks and 5 of the brads. I used some of the scent. I used some of the sequin mix. I used all of the ribbon in some place. I used a little bit of the tinsel. I did not get to those great hexagon alphabet stickers. I kept wanting to put a bee with these and make a bee sentiment or something, but they just didn't speak to me with the cards I was making, but these will definitely go in my stash. Of course, I have my peel-offs, plenty of supplies, and that terrific stamp set. Big kudos go out to Laura from Crafty Not Shifty for creating this great, great stamp set. So that's my 10 cards for the Love from Lizi March 18 card kit. I hope I was able to inspire you and maybe give you some new ideas. I'm so sorry this is late. I will do my best to catch up as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed my cards this month, ladies and gentlemen. If you did, please like me, list me, pin me, post me, share me with all of your friends. Don't run with scissors. And happy crafting. like more detailed information, better pictures, and product links, please visit my website at cardcutups.com.